Although you may have never heard of them, Delta Force is one of the most important military forces in the United States, so much so that they are the main counterterrorist force in the country. Each of the soldiers who are part of this group become responsible for the security of their nation against attacks by fundamentalist criminal groups. One of the most famous and remembered operations was the so-called Kayla Mueller, in which they killed one of the ISIS leaders with resounding success. In today's video, we are going to explore not only who the mission is named after, but also what the objective was. We will also see the characteristics of this elite force and all the details of the operation that is the protagonist of the chapter. Prepare to immerse yourself in the intrepid world of Delta Force, where audacity and precision are key, challenging the limits of what is possible. Welcome once again to military aviation. The dramatic story of Kayla Mueller, the American activist kidnapped by the Islamic State in Syria, is a tale of suffering and resistance. Her dedication to helping those most in need led her to carry out humanitarian work in conflict zones, but unfortunately she became a victim of the violence that she herself sought to mitigate. The 26-year-old was captured by the terrorist group in August 2013 in the city of Aleppo. Among the actions she carried out were her constant complaints to the Syrian government.
Me solidarizo con el pueblo sirio. Rechazo la brutalidad y el asesinato que las autoridades sirias cometen contra el pueblo sirio. Porque el silencio es participar en este crimen, yo declaro mi participación en YouTube.
The activist would pay dearly for her actions. The Islamic State would kidnap her and make her endure 18 months of torture and abuse under the yoke of some of the most sinister leaders of ISIS. Kayla's parents, previously informed by U.S. intelligence services, revealed that her daughter was not only a victim of Abu Sayyaf, a high-ranking member of the terrorist organization. The young woman also suffered horrific abuse at the hands of the supreme leader, al-Baghdadi. Initially, the family believed that Sayyaf was responsible for the sexual abuse, but intelligence services later confirmed that al-Baghdadi had taken her as his supposed wife and subjected her to terrible torment under this nuptial title. Basically, the North American had become the property of the Muslim, according to local rules. Her father, Kayla Mueller, said that the authorities informed them that the activist had to officially marry al-Baghdadi, so she was forced to suffer private humiliation as a tacit part of the marriage union. Kayla, along with other Yazidi women, was held in the Abu Sayyaf home, chained and subjected to an ordeal that included regular carnal visits from al-Baghdadi. The young woman's mother, Marcia Mueller, shared the detail that her daughter was taken to al-Baghdadi's room for long periods of time and then returned crying. After each encounter, Kayla returned to her cell distraught and shared her horrendous experiences with the other captives, trying to alert them to the possible dangers. The veracity of these stories coincides with the patterns of sexual abuse and rape suffered by women kidnapped by ISIS in Iraq and Syria, where they are ruthlessly enslaved and exploited. After months of fruitless negotiations and reports of incessant mistreatment, the United States announced the unfortunate death of the activist in February 2015. The devastating news was released by her parents at a press conference.
My name is Marcia Mueller. This is my husband, Carl. Our daughter, Kayla, was taken as a hostage and murdered by ISIS.
The Islamic State, which had demanded $7 million in ransom for Mueller's release, attributed his death to a Jordanian airstrike on its positions in Raqqa, the jihadists' capital in Syria. However, the family maintains that Kayla was murdered in retaliation for the execution of Sajida Rishawi, a fundamentalist who had tried to carry out a failed attack on behalf of the Islamic State. This jihadist militia woman had been sentenced to death by hanging by a Jordanian military court on September 21, 2006, and ISIS sought revenge with the doctrine of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. In either case, the terrorist group demonstrated that it had no compassion for the women whom it used or kidnapped and executed to convey its message of horror and faith. The family received confirmation of the young woman's death through photos of the alleged body. The cruelty to which Mueller's parents were exposed motivated Delta forces to begin planning Operation Kayla Mueller. The activist's life was the spiritual fuel of the mission, which aimed to put an end to the man who had transformed his existence into hell. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Let's now meet the sinister man who was the target of the operation. In the eastern sands of contemporary history, the figure of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi emerges, as we already mentioned, supreme leader of the Islamic State. An enigmatic figure who spread terror and violence in his quest to establish a global caliphate. His rise to power and the atrocities committed under his leadership paint a disturbing portrait of a man who challenged the limits of cruelty and ambition. Born in Samarra, Iraq in 1971, under the name Ibrahim Awad Ibrahim al-Badri, al-Baghdadi rose as the architect of a terrorist organization that challenged the borders of the Middle East and destabilized entire regions. His story is intertwined with chaotic post-war Iraq, where political chaos and the marginalization of the Sunni community fueled the breeding ground that would result in the rise of ISIS. Let's hear what the specialists think about this figure.
Baghdadi, evil of evil. Everybody's looking for him. His tradecraft is really good.
He would burn people alive, behead them, put kids in cages.
Al-Baghdadi ascended to the leadership of the Islamic State in 2010, following the death of his predecessor, Abu Omar al-Baghdadi. His master strategy was to capitalize on Sunni discontent and alienation, taking advantage of the sectarian divide and power vacuum in the region. As his figure gained weight, the international hunt for al-Baghdadi intensified. His way of evading the security forces made him a character as dangerous as he was elusive. That was until the elite special force, the protagonist of this video, took care of stopping him forever. But who exactly are Delta Force and how did they stop this fundamentalist? In the remote bastions of American military power, the Delta Forces emerge with stealth and precision. Created in 1977 in response to growing global terrorist threats, this highly classified unit has evolved into a global special operations stalwart. Delta Force focuses primarily on neutralizing subversive activities with firepower. Its primary focus involves the elimination or capture of high-value units or individuals and the dismantling of terrorist cells. From direct action operations to hostage rescues, through covert tasks in collaboration with the CIA and protection services for government leaders, Delta Force operates on various fronts with almost always optimal results. Faced with this large number of tasks, it is high-risk secret missions that constitute their specialty. These actions are so dangerous and specific that, if carried out by a less expert force, they could have become true tragedies. Let's see the footage of a spectacular training of these fighters, in which they have to rescue some hostages.
Stand up! Stand up! Back clear. Clear, you heard? Walk around him.
Delta Force's select warriors are meticulously chosen from a special pool of the United States military. Through rigorous selection processes, these elite troops are subjected to physical and mental endurance tests that separate the common soldier from the exceptional operator. Delta Force operations commanded by these soldiers consist of counterterrorism missions with capture or execution of the target, release of hostages, and reconnaissance in the most dangerous areas of the globe. Your arsenal includes cutting-edge weaponry, from custom assault rifles to cutting-edge communication tools. However, the specific details of their equipment and tactics remain largely classified. We are sorry to disappoint you, but there is a good reason for this data to remain secret. This is because the Delta military wants to have the element of surprise and wants its enemies not to know what they are going to have to deal with. The few testimonies known from these soldiers reveal the intensity of their commitment and the unique camaraderie that characterizes this select group. The ability to operate under extreme pressure, unwavering loyalty, and tactical adaptability are common traits among these elite operators. In the 21st century, Delta Force has played a vital role in the global fight against terrorism. One of the most famous and spectacular missions of this elite corps is the one that gives the title to this video: the dangerous and risky operation that killed the aforementioned al-Baghdadi. We will tell you exactly how the events occurred. On the morning of October 24, 2019, a date that would mark contemporary military history, United States intelligence agencies provided Donald Trump with the confirmation that he had been waiting for: Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi had been located. This news was what triggered one of the most risky and crucial missions carried out by the Delta Force, Operation Kayla Mueller, in honor of the activist. The decision to carry out the operation was made with great determination, as options were limited and time was of the essence. The objective was considered high risk and was entrusted to the elite soldiers with the greatest seniority and experience. It was clear that in this scenario, drones or planes with remotely controlled missiles were not going to be enough. Human presence and tactical expertise were essential to successfully complete the mission. At the Al-Assad base in Iraq, more than 100 uniformed personnel, including prominent Delta Force veterans, meticulously prepared to face the most dangerous operation since the capture of Osama bin Laden in Pakistan in 2011. The contingent would fly in 8 Apache and Chinook helicopters, equipped with war dogs, trackers, and specialized combat units. They also carried classic cannons, thermal missiles, and heavy-caliber machine guns. The objective was overwhelming: infiltrate al-Baghdadi's location and capture him dead or alive. The plan was ready for execution and the tension in the base was palpable. 2 days after the terrorist was located in the crisis room in the basement of the White House, Trump followed every moment of the operation through cameras installed on the soldiers' helmets and vests. The Delta Force team landed with stealth and precision, surrounded the terrorists' residence, and faced fierce resistance. Tension increased as the operation unfolded in real time. The officials, with the president at their head, were sweating with nerves as much as the troops. Al-Baghdadi, along with 2 female accomplices, tried to escape armed with explosive vests with which he threatened the soldiers. The women managed to be neutralized before activating the bombs, but the terrorist leader managed to take refuge in an intricate system of tunnels built under his home, taking 3 minor hostages with him. As if it were a Hollywood movie, the troops had to get lost in a sand labyrinth to try to find the elusive terrorist. The war dogs, essential in the mission, relentlessly pursued al-Baghdadi until they managed to corner him and the infantrymen, triggering a sequence of critical events. The ISIS leader knew that he was trapped and that there was no escape. In a final act of desperation and cowardice, the terrorist detonated his explosive vest, taking his own life and causing the deaths of the 3 children. Despite this gruesome and bloodthirsty suicidal act, the soldiers managed to recover fragments of his DNA to confirm the identity of the head of the Islamic State. Once the rehearsals were carried out and the evidence was corroborated, the elite troops celebrated. Meanwhile, one of the members of the Delta Force transmitted to the president live and direct: 100% confirmed, we hit the jackpot, 100% sure, over and out.
Last night, the United States brought the world's #1 terrorist leader to justice. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. He was the founder and leader of ISIS, the most ruthless and violent terror organization anywhere in the world. The United States has been searching for Baghdadi for many years. Capturing or killing Baghdadi has been the top national security priority of my administration.
Operation Kayla Mueller, beyond its tactical success, symbolizes the tireless dedication of this Special Forces force in the fight against terrorism. The memory of Kayla Mueller, along with the bravery of those who participated in the mission, will go down in history as a testament to boldness and determination in the pursuit of justice. However, Kayla's parents are still waiting for full justice so they can pay their proper respects to their young and reckless daughter. Let's listen to her father after the operation.
Well, our hope is to seize this moment, and this moment is the fact that al-Baghdadi has been killed, some of his lieutenants have been captured, And we are hoping that they have the information we've been seeking. That is, who killed Kayla, where was she killed.
Today we remember Kayla Mueller not only for the tragedy of her loss, but also for her dedication to humanitarian service and her desire to make the world a better place. In the same way, we remember and honor the elite Delta Force troops with this video. These silent silhouettes trained with surgical precision continue to operate in the shadows, prepared to confront the most critical threats. Although the exact nature of their operations remains secret, the bravery and skill of Delta Force remains a beacon of United States national security. We come to the end of this exciting episode. We await your opinions in the comments box below, and we look forward to seeing you in the next installments of Military Aviation.